global commercial law, Ed Sheeran's performance in Bengaluru Church Street, and linkages to articles of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So what are we talking about here? This goes back to January 2025, when Ed Sheeran was on his India tour. The British singer and songwriter had various concerts scheduled across India, and this incident happened during his Bengaluru event. Ed Sheeran and his team had planned to do a surprise gig at the famous Church Street on 9th of February for his fans in the city. Accordingly, he showed up at the venue with his team and started performing. The crowd started to accumulate, and as soon as Ed Sheeran started singing his most famous song, Shape of You, an angry police officer made a special appearance and pulled the plug on his speaker, stating he didn't have the permission to perform there. Did the artist really show up without permits? Is it believable that such a big artist who performs across globe didn't have knowledge of taking permission from local authorities before performing at a public place? Let's take a dive in statements from both sides and understand the legal and social perspective. According to a report, the police claimed that the singer's street performance was held without obtaining the necessary permissions. DCP Central Bengaluru, Shekhar T. Tekananavar, explained, "A member of the organizing team came to me seeking permission for the concert on Church Street. I clearly rejected it, saying that Church Street is a busy area in Bengaluru and becomes too congested. As per the High Court order, many evacuations have been done from the area, so we did not permit Ed Sheeran to perform. Also, during his gig there, a complaint was received on the emergency helpline 112. That is why he was asked to vacate the place." However, Sheeran's team, on the other hand, claimed that the brief act was held with the necessary prior approval. The British singer took to his Instagram story to share a short statement where he wrote that they had permission to busk and that it was not just him randomly turning up. "We had permission to busk, by the way. Hence, us playing in that exact spot was planned out beforehand. It wasn't just us randomly turning up. All good though. See you at the show tonight, X," Sheeran wrote. Now that we have heard what both the involved parties had to say, let's understand what is UDHR and what linkage does it have to this incident. The UDHR stands for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is a milestone document adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on December 10, 1948, in Paris. It sets out, for the first time, fundamental human rights that should be universally protected. The UDHR is not legally binding, but it has inspired more than 70 human rights treaties and declarations globally. It acts as a global standard for human rights. So, what rights recognized by UDHR are relevant here? The Article 19, Freedom of Expression, of the UDHR protects Mr. Sheeran's freedom of opinion and expression. His live street performance, while artistic, falls under this provision. He was expressing himself creatively through music in a public space with prior arrangements made. Secondly, Article 20, Clause 1, ensures everyone the right to peaceful assembly. The audience gathered that day was nonviolent and cooperative. There is no evidence of disorder, obstruction, or agitation before the police intervened. But were there only violations of human rights? Isn't there any article of UDHR that validates the action of Bengaluru police? There certainly is. Article 29, Clause 2 of UDHR, which reads, "These rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the nation," and adds that limitations may be applied solely for the purpose of securing due recognition and respect for the rights and freedoms of others and of meeting the just requirements of morality, public order, and the general welfare in a democratic society. However, such restrictions must meet 3 specific tests. 1. They must be prescribed by law. 2. They must be necessary in a democratic society. And 3. They must be proportionate to the threat they aim to prevent. Now that we've unpacked the event, heard both sides, and explored the UDHR articles involved, let's connect the dots. While Ed Sheeran's surprise performance was a form of artistic and peaceful expression, protected under Article 19, Freedom of Expression, and Article 20, Right to Peaceful Assembly, the actions of the police if genuinely in the interest of public order and safety, can be justified under Article 29, Clause 2 of the UDHR. This situation highlights a delicate balance between individual freedoms and the collective well-being of society. It reminds us that rights are not absolute and sometimes need to be weighed against each other depending on the context. On one hand, artists like Ed Sheeran use public performances to create shared human experiences, breaking barriers of language and culture. And, on the other, authorities are entrusted with maintaining order, ensuring that public spaces remain safe and accessible to all. But what truly matters is how these rights are enforced or restricted. Were the limitations reasonable? Were they clearly communicated? And most importantly, were they in line with the spirit of human dignity and fairness that the UDHR upholds? In the end, incidents like this remind us that human rights are a living concept shaped daily by actions, interpretations, and intentions. So the next time we witness a clash between law, expression, and public order, let's not just ask who was right, but rather was everyone's human dignity respected? Because in a truly democratic society, rights are not just protected. They're understood, debated, and evolved. Thank you for watching.